Bo,
Yeah.
bo, 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 bo.
Mhm. Yay. Hey, hey. I already see Bacta's
Whoa.
here. Welcome, Jean. Vlad in the
Yes.
building. Vlad's my favorite person to find in a room now. I don't know if we all know this, but I've been able to meet him twice in person, and the hugs are good, and the energy is amazing. And I just love our entire Land Pilot fam. It's exciting to know you guys.
And I had the most awesome lunch with Vlad, right? Like we were like brothers from another mothers, and we ate the same steak and the same shit, and it was like really good. And he was like so nice, and he even paid for my lunch. Can you imagine that? That was like so great. I still like I didn't eat since then. I didn't want to. That was like a week ago, right? Like I need to lose some weight too. So I thought that's a good idea to start with it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Roman, glad you're here.
Okay.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Good, Corianne, good.
Let's see. We're gonna
Okay.
let a few people just file in. I hope
Let's
everybody's
do
having a
it.
great week. Robin, we know we're having a great week. You've been kicking butt and taking names. My to-do list, y'all, is long.
Why don't we kick it off with some wins, victories, and celebrations? Who has something exciting to share? Come on, let's go. Like I know here people in the room, like Bhakta always has something exciting to share, or David, or Roman, or Gene, or Vlad. Like what happened to you in the past couple of days where you say, "Hey, that was exciting." No matter if it was in your land business or private, or just Vlad, give us some juice. Come on, man.
Call has been forwarded. Yeah, honestly, Robin, meeting you and Korean last week, that was for me the highlight of my month.
I love that. I love that. This guy, like, he was everywhere. He drove everywhere. Like, we had the most good conversations about land and water and energy work and like all that stuff. I really loved it. Like, man, it was really good. It was one of my highlights this month so far too, man. I can say that. Who else has something to share? Come on, one more. Korean, you wanna break the ice a little bit? You wanna get like one win
Always.
out there?
Absolutely. We have on our team a new partner manager who has been taking amazing care of our partners. And honestly, it's one of those situations where you're like, hey, come into this role. And they take it on in such an amazing way. And right now, I'm just proud mama over here, honestly, of our team and some of the big changes that we've been making because people are giving us the feedback that we need to create something that really benefits our partners. And I honestly could get teary eyed because I'm so proud of our team. That's my win.
That's my win. That's so cool. Gene, you had a win? You want to share something? You have always something good to share. You're always smiling, always good. Like when I
Um,
talk to you, it's always good.
my my win is I'm learning how to use Chat GPT, and I
Wow.
have
You've been on Kellen's course this week on her little
well,
thing?
no, I'm not taking her, but I was at the master class, and then Travis had our tape. He had to tape it, and showed us how he used it and gave us some prompts too. So not only did I get Kellen's two prompts, but I got Travis's two prompts. Travis pretty much, is training on that Chat GPT, the paid version at $20. But I'm like, oh, I mean, it was amazing. He pulled Texas, and then it gave him the cities in Texas and then the three top counties in Texas. He didn't specifically tell it that he was a land investor, but it was geared for, like housing. I mean, and talked about subdividing, what areas, what counties were good for subdividing. So it was very good. So that
I
was my,
love that.
yeah, it was good. It was good.
I love
I'm
that,
like, oh
guys.
my,
I can just tell you, AI will take over our world, right? So
I
get
know,
into that,
no
like Gene.
kidding. It's
Gene, and
amazing. It's
and and I
amazing.
know that you are like always on top of things, so be like Gene, right? Like get it out there and grab that knowledge, what is there, and I love that, Gene. Really, that's pretty cool.
That was amazing. Thank you.
Really good.
Something I heard recently that honestly really stuck with me in terms of the AI was that we used to be in a a time, a generation, if you will, where it was important the knowledge that you have. The generation now and moving forward, it's important the questions that you ask because the knowledge is available everywhere. So
Interesting.
speaking of
It's about
questions,
filtering information, right? That's the key to success. But hey, we have it's 5:07 CST. Oh, what is there? John sent me a text. I will be then drop off. Okay. Hey, John, good to have you here. Like, John is a good friend of mine, and maybe we can John and his partner Andrew have on one of the next calls. They are like the entitlement specialists. Maybe they want to come and talk a little bit about that, right? Because I know that's something which is like moving our industry like pretty deep. What else can you do with land? And today we thought it was on the time because we have so much updates that we want to talk a little bit about the land pilot. Well, we don't do so much here, but we want to share some things we've seen. I mean, we get like a bunch of deals out of the community from you guys, right? And we have seen a lot of stuff happening, especially like in the past couple of months. And we're just improving what we do to make it easier, better, and faster for you to interact with us, to produce more sales, easier sales, and all that. And I know that, yeah, I'm really excited about all that changes because I think it changes always the chance. And like, I mean, probably David, you have seen too a shift in the market. Vlad has seen a shift in the market, and we just need to do things differently, right? And we listened to you, we listened to that what we got from you, and we were like, hey, you know what? We want to do things better and make it better for you and give more services out there, more quality, that you can just do more deals. This is like our only thing because we believe in true freedom, right? And we decided that land investing is the vehicle we use for that. So Korean, like stack on that. Let's get it rolling for today, huh?
absolutely. First, I just want to give a more formal thank you to everybody that made time today for showing up to the Land Pilot family and this community where we really share notes, but also for you and your business, because Robin is so kind to open his brain and share his knowledge. And we want to soak it up and we want to disseminate it into your businesses so that you guys can have similar success. We all want to meet on a beach someday. That being said, I want to start today with just asking a few of the questions that I've heard from you guys, partners, to Robin directly, interview style. And that's how we're going to kick it off. Does everybody feel good about that? Can I get some thumbs up? Vlad's got me. Thank you. Thank you, David. Robin, my question for you to kick off today is, what does it take to sell a deal quickly? Quickly being an important word.
And Vlad, you were on the event, right? Everybody asked me that, right? What is average days on market and all? It's all like, I think, you know, there's a lot of answers to this. And I want to answer it like that. The first thing is, everything is about the preparation of the deal you get under contract, right? We see markets that moved a year ago in like 30 days, moving in 60 to 90 days or 120 days even. We see markets right now that moved a year ago or 2 years ago in like 90 to 120 days that need now 270 days to close, right? Because the market is just slower. People are more insecure, right? So I think when you today look that you want to have deals that you double close, that you sell fast, right? You need to have a look in markets that are like really where stuff is moving, right? Just like, so when you analyze markets, always have a look like what's in the market right now to offer, and just like screen the listings a little bit, right? Like, how long are they in the market, right? Like, how are they priced? How they are compared to each other, right? Is this stuff like, do you see it on Zillow now for 150 days and you have like 60 views and 3 saves? Or do you see stuff like, and you don't have any sold comparables? That's an indication that this is a slow market right now, right? And then also like look a little bit, there's a term for that, the sell-through rate, right? Like what is really selling, like which acreage sizes are selling in that area where you are, what is like the, that amount of stuff where you go, AI can do amazing things and help you with that, right? Like especially Perplexity. Don't have so much to look on ChatGPT and Claude because their data is older, right? Like ChatGPT, I think is from 2021, right? In the moment, or 2020 or something like this. I'm not an AI specialist, but it's older data. Like check perplexity.ai, for example, to run this data. But you want to be in a market where things sell, actually, especially when you work with double closing, right? Don't choose markets where you see a bunch of listings that are on the market for like 200 days, 150 days, 120 days. Choose things where things are in average on the market 45, 60 days, right? That's the first thing. The second thing we see, comps, right? And we'll talk a bunch about comps today, because I think that's like the most important thing. What we feel is people are in the moment comparing a lot of pears and apples, right? So it's like, hey, you compare that one with that one, but it's like compare like a Porsche with, I don't know, like a smart car, right? Like, but you think it's the same and you compare to each other, and through that you get comps together that don't work. And always have in mind, like the comps you run today, you ran on the property you have under contract are probably 3, 4, 5, 6 months old, right? They're as old as you made the offer to the seller, right? And always double check them before you market with us or before you market with anybody else. What are the comps today? Like in this moment, right? What is that? And I think when you do these two things, you already have like half a sale, right? Maybe 70% you were there. Because what I see happening, and we had a discussion in our team meeting about this, is people don't think about the product they sell in the end, right? That's like engineering thinking, right? When you do this, when you don't think about your buyers and the market where you are in, when you buy stuff people don't want, right? And I've seen a lot of companies going back. Who has seen, there's a movie on Apple TV, I think, right now or something, about the BlackBerry thing. Like it's about BlackBerry, and then like in 2006, Steve Jobs came with the iPhone, and they were all like, "Oh yeah, that iPhone! Like we have the most like haptic thing, and that people love that." Hey, who crashed the market with the iPhone? It was Steve Jobs, right? And they didn't pay attention because they didn't see how much value that provided to the customer. So just like be aware what you buy, make better deals and better markets. I think this is like the key factor to success. And to sell it fast, then it's not enough. And like that was with me on the Land Investing Summit. You were there with me. I know John Montero was there, right? A couple of others maybe in the room. When you heard people talking, everybody was like, "Hey, realtors slower, right? Facebook Marketplace slower." So a lot of the traditional ways of selling don't work anymore. I was for lunch today with Ajay Sharma, who launched that event, right? And he's a good friend of mine. And we talked about that. And we had like one conclusion. And the conclusion was you just need to do more. You need to organize more outreach, go in more methods of marketing, bring more visibility, because there is a pool of buyers, but it's smaller, right? So you need to get more visibility that they see you actually. Right? Because even when you have the contract, no matter what they put in your mind, you need to get visibility out on that contract. Otherwise, you will never sell it and double close it. And even if you don't work on a double closing method, I buy most of my deals, right? And I buy a lot of them with hard money, but I want to have at least like a little bit of a feeling of how is the market working? How much leads do we generate? Right? Like, how is my pricing towards the market? Right? I always say that to sell a lot, your price needs to match the demand in the market and the condition of the property. And when there is a disconnect, right, you will not sell that property. So this is how we prove that. And I think these are like the 3 or 4 or 5, I don't know, remember anymore, like how many factors to sell a lot really fast. It's really doing a good research. Where do you do deals, right? And really prove your comps before you start marketing, because marketing, no matter how you do it, it costs money, right? You spend time, you spend effort, you spend dollars, and probably your time is the most valuable asset you have, right? Because we can't duplicate time. We have so many years left. The day has 24 hours, not more. So we need to see that we get the maximum out of there. So before you market a property, be sure that it's still like an asset you have in your hands that you can sell with some profit.
Robin, I asked one question and I swear the next three on my list you just answered. So let's just like take a moment and no, okay. Crossing all of that out. Is everybody tracking? Are you learning? Just want to see that this is okay, clicking with you guys. I've got one more for you since you answered so many already. Tell us like what a good deal looks like and what it takes to get a good deal under contract.
Yeah. So what we see happening a lot with our partners we're working with a lot they're selling, we see a lot the comps thing I mentioned before. This is why I mentioned that, right? That we see like, hey, their comps have been done like quite a while back and they have been taken for granted, right? When you identify the deal as a good deal and the market as a good market and it's just slower, don't be shy to call your seller again, right? So you are aware of making the numbers work. You have a warm relationship with your seller, right? And when you have a good deal in front of you where you know it will sell, but your profit margin is not that what you want to be, go back to the seller, call them. Will everybody say yes? No, but when one of three say yes, and your estimated profit on the deal was before that $3,000, and you know renegotiate $7,000 or $8,000 more dollars in profit into the deal. However you do that, right? We'll have a call next week with Ajay Sharma. He will share like all the details how he does that, man. And that guy is like oh my god, he's like crazy on the phone, right? He is like knows all the tricks, right? But to get a good deal under contract is really like when you have that relationship, you know it's a good property to sell. Just like don't give up, even if your numbers don't work right now, go back to the seller, right? Because like it's always easier to work with warm relationship. And I think a good deal in these days, I would say it's always think as the buyer, right? We still have a housing shortage here in the US, right? So people are looking for properties where they can build on or bring a mobile home or relocate or whatever. Think about budgets they have, right? Who needs to move out his house, lives in a trailer, doesn't have $80,000 for an $80,000 property, but maybe he has $30,000 or $20,000 or can owner finance something on that price point, right? Think a little bit about that. This is what we see. Like these lots up to $40,000 are really working really well, and they move fast because people are looking for alternatives. Right? People don't want to live in the city anymore so much, right? They go a little bit more rural. They want a little bit space, right? A lot of people are working from home, but they don't have really giant budget. On the other side, we see a lot of deals with six figures in revenue moving fast. Like I would say like $100,000 to $500,000 because there's a bunch of people right now, like who have hobbies like hunting or ATVs and whatever, and they have the money sitting in the bank and they don't trust the bank, right? Whatever reason, right? We don't know. It's election year and all these crazy things happen in the world. They just want to park their money sometime. And we see these deals moving fast too. So I guess like to answer both of your questions, like and to shorten that a little bit, really when you have good deals in front of you, good properties, right? Then don't be shy to negotiate a profit that you want to make, right? Like always go with your end goal in mind. What do I want to make, right? Like I sometimes have the impression a lot of people are just happy I have a contract and they think that the job is done. No, the job starts then, right? Because first of all, you need to sell. Second of all, you need to make your profits and then negotiate it out of there. And then like always think what sells right now, like, and have a look at your market there too, right? When you make your market analysis, no matter if you use AI, when you do the classical thing, just go through the sold listings. What has been on the market like in the last 6 months or 12 months? And how fast was that moving? Like I know I use Zillow a lot, right? Or Redfin, and you always have the listing history a little bit in there for things that sold, right? I just like check, okay, like, hey, from that 10 listings I look right now at, how long have they been in the market to sell? Right? Like how fast did that happen, right? And when you see, hey, that's good, you know the property is good, you maybe know the area, I think then this is a good deal and you should stick on it. And once you identify that, guys, stick with it. Like good deals are rare, and I think it's a time to do better deals, but less deals. right? But it's up to you to negotiate your profit in there, right? And I think that's like um, a good answer to that question.
I am so excited to have AJ come because he makes the steepest negotiations just look like butter, like super easy, can make those things happen. And I think that's a big part of this business is making sure that you can go back, communicate your findings with that seller, and maybe even renegotiate to be at the prices where it makes sense for your time and energy. So helpful, Robin. Should we take a look at some of the properties that we've been seeing recently?
Yeah, we can do that. So I thought a little bit, guys, what is the biggest issue we're seeing right now? What the biggest challenges our partners are facing right now, right? And what we realize is that the attention to the details is like really important right now when you comp your properties, right? Like we see a lot of like everybody knows how to run comps. When you ask your realtor, what does he do? The normal realtor hits a button, gets like the most recent sale comps and for sale comps and gives you an average price of that, right? But selling a property is pretty much trickier than that, right? And what I wanted to share a little bit with you, we built in the past 2 months internally a comps team up. And we have two really good guys to do that, right? They are really experienced, but I have seen like some mismanagement in their comps. So we spent every morning like an hour together to go over the deals we have, just like to see, hey, are they evaluated right or not right? Because, it's like when we list a property in the land pilot, right? The majority of you know that we get paid on a commission mainly, right? That's like where we make our money. So I need to be sure that when we take over a property that my partner and me make money, right? That this property is comped right. And we do like, that was pretty easy for the past couple of years, but this year it got harder because the markets are like moving like differently. So we decided to build up an internal comps team and run a call every morning, right? Like, or just like hop on, hey, these are the new properties, let's go over that. And just like see what are our partners doing, what are they seeing, how do we see that, right? And let me share my screen here. Wait, I prepared that, of course, and now I can't find it, right? That's always the same with me. Here it is.
Works.
And this is how it works, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for example, let's take this one here. So, and I use for that our comp sheet. The comp sheet, you get it in the portal, right? It's a pretty cool tool. I like it because you have like all the comps in here. We have like over here like a profit calculation and a sales calculation and all that. So you have everything on one view, right? And I want to guide you around a little bit. This is how our team works, or how I work with the team too, right? It's like, hey, we use the sheet to really like get into that a little bit. And we had here a property in Callahan County, right? I want to show you that property first. Let's make like a little bit of an investigation about this lot, right? So Callahan County is like here in like in the Dallas area, like an hour west of that or 2 hours west of that, right? And it's like two properties in one, right? When we pull up the map ID here, right? Like we use land ID for most of that stuff. It's two parcels. Oh, an error occurred. Okay, that it's always when you want to show something, right? Like let me look in land ID. Sign in. Oh, because I'm not signed in. Maybe I promise you I tried that earlier. Let me see if that works now. No, it doesn't work. Okay, let's do it. Create new map. Let's go to Texas. And let's go to parcel ID, Callahan. And, I just like do like a simple process step all the time, right? So I check that parcel, I go in there with the team, and it's these two parcels we're talking about, right? In total, it's around 11.6 acres or something like that, right? These two parcels, you see here a couple of buildings. That's probably a subdivision that has been developed like recently, right? And we see like the owner who is selling, he owns a couple of lots here. And the first thing I always check for, guys, is any kind of like surface water, FEMA floodplain, and wetlands, right? In Texas, it's not so likely that you have it, like you see, but like, for example, in Florida, you just want to see it, right? And now I show you like something, and I haven't seen a lot of people doing that, but what I always do is I check for slope, right? I just check the properties, and I mean, we're in Texas, so here's not too much slope, but we'll have like 2 or 3 properties later where that is pretty important. So just to see what's buildable, right? Because slope can be a huge, huge factor why a property is not worth what it is worth, what you think it's worth, right? Like, because like this one is flat and you have the neighbor property and your neighbor property has like a steep hill in it or whatever, then, and you don't have any plateau where you can build something. So automatically your property is not worth anything, right? Because you can't do anything with it instead of like standing on top of the hill and maybe spit down there, right? This is like maybe something you can do, right? But with this property, like I didn't find any issues, so I said, okay, let me check the comps a little bit, because our partner listed that property. He has it under contract for 125,000 and gave it to us with a cash sale price of 145,000. The first disconnect I saw here is like, hey, we have a commission to pay to the realtor and some costs to work with us. He will not make any money on this property. He's already was uploading that like was minus 6,000, right? And I was like, okay, we need to go back to the partner, because he listed that property and didn't put the numbers together, right? Like it's a 15% commission. The land pilot is charging like 8% of that go to the agent. We take 7% for the service. There's an underwriting fee and an onboarding fee. And then of course you have closing costs and acquisition costs and funding costs. Maybe you can put all of that here, it will calculate. But what I saw first is, hey, our partner is already $6,000 behind, right? So, and then he listed it for 145,000. I started checking the market a little bit, right? So I went into the market and just like checked like what is in there, right? Like, and wait, where is here? Like, so, and what he did is I talked with him. It's like he checked like this 2.77 acre lots. That's the most recent sale he found here, right? And there were 2.77 acres sold for like $40,000 back in 2022. I thought that's not really a reliable comp, right? That's a second comp he presented to me, right? Like it was $32,000 back in 2022, and it sold then shortly after that, right? Like after half a year. So we don't even know, because Texas is a non-disclosure state, so we need to do that. So I said, hey, you know what? Let's look a little bit more around, right? Let's go a little bit more like in the weeds, because we have like a huge property for sale, right? Like it's like more like a 5 to 20 acres range we want to look. And let me see what sold in the last 12 months here. And then you see, I need to scroll out, right? This land here is really homogeneous, right? Like you see, like everything looks almost the same. So we can go like in a bigger radius. And then I stumbled across this one here. I thought, okay, who prepares something like this is probably a professional investor, right? Who knows how to do that. And it's lot 1, so probably he had a lot 2, 3, 4, 5 here. And guess what I found? I went to my for sale comps here, and I found that investor selling some stuff here, right? Like, look, oh no, that was ours. We had here. I found him selling some stuff. This is from him. And then there was another subdivision. Wait, let me just click that out here. I just like went a little bit around. This one here. This is tract 5 from that what we have seen right now, right? So that was 5.41 acres. Like our tract 1 we found here was over there. So they took this entire tract down and subdivided that. So that's always a good sign. These people know their markets, right? When somebody buys a property, subdivides it, they will have like an extensive research of the property, right? And they are selling like 5 tracts around like, this one is $70,000, right? Like there were a couple of other ones. Wait, what else do we have here? Like I found another one here from him, and I took that as a comp, 125,000 for 10 acres, right? So they sell property for $500,000 and probably took it down for, let's say, 150, $200,000, right? Put the survey costs in, paid for all of that. They will be sure, really sure about what they're touching, right? Because they will not buy anything they can't sell. They have an investor in the back end, they have money in the deal, they did an extensive research. So that's always good, reliable comps you can take here, right? So, and what I was seeing here is even that guy who knows the area, right? He sold 1 or 2 lots, but there's still 3 in the market, and they're in the market for over 100 days. Does that make sense? So they're already there like for 3.5 months, right? The other one here I've seen, where was that? Here, that was like 100 days in the market. And what you see is they have 151 views here on Zillow, right? And 8 saves. That's like not a lot, but that shows me, hey, gives me like a thesis about like, you know what? He's probably for that market right now a little bit overpriced, even with his extensive research. Does that make sense? Right? So I have now in mind, hey, there's somebody out there, he sells some tracks, right? But he is right now for the market as it is, like a little bit overpriced, right? Here was another one. I found like 100 days in the market, priced was like 14,000 an acre. And I put all of this here in the sheet, right? So which means like the for sale comps I found here show me it's an average right now. What's on the market is an average for 13.7 grand an acre in the market was 100 views, 146 views, a couple of saves, right? That means we're a little bit overpriced. It doesn't move fast, and the market is slow, right? It probably will sell, but it will take 100, 120 days, maybe 200 days or 180 days. It would just take some time. So the market is slow on that price point. He will not sell on that price point in 90 days because the stuff is stuck in there, right? And when I then looked around, I started looking a little bit around here. I found this one, 8.34 acres, right? Like acreage, we have like a wide range here. How did I get to the for sale price? I just took that one here, right? That was 2023 in April, 115,000. I thought, you know, it's like a good comp, just like to start it, to build for me like a thesis, like how does this market work? Because I don't know the market, right? So here you see the first tract, right? You remember that from that market that was sold back in 29/12, right? Like in December last year. So this investor is sitting on that for a year already, or 1.5 years. Okay, the market is slow. So when I want to sell fast on a double closing, I need to match that, right? I need to have that in mind when I look at the property, right? We found like a couple of other comps here, right? Like this one, for example. What is that one here, right? Like again, like I read a little bit what's in here. Oak tree bush, like no major improvements. This is why I thought it's a good one. That sold last year for $130,000, right? And then we had this one here. That's where 6 acres that just recently sold. I think that was end of last year too. That means we don't find any for sale comps for this year. There's no high demand in that market out there. Does that make sense so far? This is how I think about comps. This is how you would think about comps. It's like having a thesis. What do I find in that market? What's moving right now and at what price points? Does that make sense? So our partner submitted that. And when I just look at this comps here, right, we could support 145,000 on that for sale comp, on that sold comps. We could even support like a market value of 160,000 when I compare it to the for sale comps. But this guy is shooting for a double closing, right? So we need to start low, right? That property, we have approximately 12 acres. And when I want to sell it in 90 days, where I would start is selling it for $120,000. This is what we can get to sell it on a double closing, right? And he didn't want to buy that property. So I said, hey, let's do 120,000. Let's start with 10 grand an acre, because we have a couple of pluses on this property too, right? We did some deeper due diligence. We know that our property has, for example, our property has, for example, water, right? It has like a water supply, like a community water thing, right? Here's somewhere like a community well. So they don't need to dig a well. That's a plus, right? Like it's a little plus in there. But we have a little plus. It's flat. It's cleared almost. So it's easy to build. They just need to bring a septic. And so I came to the conclusion, we need to cut the market that is there to get a steal, right? Like people will probably buy an offer. And when I now go in the market with something which is 10 grand an acre in a developed subdivision with water, then we have a good starting point, right? But what the partner came with, and now we run the math, right? He came already with a purchase price of 125,000. And he thought, hey, I just do a $20,000 profit on that. But he will not make any money. No, he will bring $6,000 to the table. And even if you take like all the costs for online land market here out, right? Like, would you agree that you pay like 8% to like a realtor? Maybe he makes then $5,000, but he will not generate any leads because we are overpriced with 145,000, right? Like what our friend, the professional investor with the subdivision experiences right now, right? So in the end, I went back to him and said, you know what? We need to price it for $120,000. You need to go back to your seller. And we have on here like what we offer on stuff, right? And I said, you can maximum offer that guy $72,000 because you need to make some money, right? Maybe you can offer him like $85,000, but look what happens here with the profit, right? It goes up. And this is how you should look on deals, right? Like when we think about deals, we think about this number here, down here, the net profit number. When everything is paid, what do we make? Would you make 2 deals a month with $25,000 in profit? Would you wait to get these deals? I would do that all day long. Right? That's 50 grand a month. That's 600 grand a year. Like, oh my, after everything is paid, right? Personal income. So now he goes back to the partner. I don't know the outcome yet, but this is how we can sell that lot. And this is what you should do too, right? Like when you have that, when you know what the target price is, I can sell it for in a certain amount of time when I shoot for a double close, right? Then you have a better negotiation basis, right? No matter if you have it on a contract, but now he can go back to the seller and say, you know what? I made a market analysis. Everything is pretty slow out there. Da, 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 da. I can offer you 72. And then one thing can happen, right? He can say yes. Or the other thing which can happen, they can say no, right? And they can counter, or they can say like, I hate you now, Bhakta, right? I will not let you steal my land, Bhakta, right? Like, this is what it is. But don't be afraid of that discussion, because our partner was so happy to have that deal for $125,000. He just, I will sell it. I will make a profit, 20,000 in the first place. But it's not, because there are costs associated with that, right? So always have that in mind. Do you think that was helpful so far to have a look on that deal, like how to value the deal? Who like that? Great.
Yeah, seeing head
Come on,
nods.
Head
Good,
nods.
good.
That's good. That's good, right? Like, let's get. Shall we do a really tricky one? Come
Yes,
on, let's do a
please.
really tricky one. Wait, like, which one was that? Was it this one?
Normally, Robin, how much,
Mhm.
your offer should be, like, compared to the market value.
When you can get it for $1, Bhakta, go for it. This is my thing on that,
But
right?
everybody wants to the higher dollar amount.
Yeah. So this is what we offer here, right? Like, 10 to 20, we offer 35%, right?
Mhm.
And when we come to that, why do we do that? And then it goes up 45. But the maximum I offer is 65% of market value, what I think the market value is. Because I want to have some space to pay a funder. I have some space to market the property. I want to have some space to carry my mistakes when I'm like wrong on the evaluation, right? Right. And when I don't make that amount of money here, like I have a goal, what needs to be here under the line, I stay away from the deal. Does that make sense? Be more selective about that, right? It means you do less deals, but when you take like the outcome first, right? And look on that, that's better. And the numbers we use, the maximum offers we do are on the spreadsheet. You find it in the portal, right? It's in the portal. I would use that on every deal. I think that's the most powerful tool you can have, right? Wait, let's do with that one. Which one was this? Okay, wait, that's Marion. Let's do this one here.
I was say, which one are you looking for? You might be able to help.
Wait, I want to do this one here.
Sweet.
Okay. Yeah. I was looking for that one. So we're in Mobile, Alabama, right? I drove by it literally like 2 weeks ago while I was escaping the hurricane on the way back from Tampa to Dallas because I was driving to the Investor Summit from another mastermind was in Tampa and the hurricane hit. There were no more flights out. So I took my wife and the baby and we drove all the way to Dallas. So we drove to Mobile, Alabama. I know that for a fact, right? So Potter submitted us this property here. It's what is it? 3.59 acres parcel, right? In Mobile, Alabama. And that's a tough one because I said, okay, he came to us and he wanted to sell it for, wait, let me just check it. Which one was that? D14. And he came like with, he has it under contract for $18,000 and wanted to sell it for initially 34, right? So I said, okay, looks great. And then what I did is I took this one, put it again on Land ID, right? And did my typical investigation. This is what I do all day long, right? I look here. I look here. I go to Alabama. The county was Mobile County. Right, so let's go here. Tick, tick. We go in here. So beautiful, I think. Road access, right? Trees, big lot, neighborhood, developed neighborhood. Here's like a house with a pool. Okay, great. Let me have a little look at all this, right? What do we do first? We do water, floodplain, and wetlands, right? And what do we see here? Oh my God. Our 3.59 acres have like a wetland going through that. Here's a creek, right? We see floodplain, no floodplain, but wetlands. Wetlands is not good, right? Because we're here in like a subdivision setting, not in a rural acreage for hunters where nobody really cares, right? We have like here subdivision, people want to live here. So the property is split in half, and I said, okay, when there is a creek, we probably have some elevation too. So I switched this one on, this filter, and you see this here? This property looks like a U, right? So it starts here, then it drops down here, goes again up here, right? And it's not flat, right? Like there's not so much space to build here too, right? I mean, you could say now and argue like, hey, we could build here. Probably we can, right? But like when you look a little bit at the picture, the slope already starts here going down. Does that make sense? So when do you want to build a house? And when you build a house, you like need to deal with that like slope in here, right? Like put any kind of pillars or whatever in there to make it doable, right? And then we have wetlands, and like the rest of the parcel is not really the rest of the parcel is not really um usable, right? Now you can argue we can do some hunting here back in the woods and all that. I don't know like how liberal they are in Mobile County, but this was like a huge defect on the property. Does that make sense? So, okay, then we had to look at the comps. So we realized there's a creek in the property. We have a lot of slope, right? That means like, hey, the parcel has like some defects, right? And then I was starting looking for comps. And here's what I found, right? We were looking like, what was this here? This was a vacant land comp, right? We found like a $90,000 comp at the end of a cul-de-sac for 2.75 acres, 111 days, like quarter of a year in the market, 35 views, one safe. So totally overpriced, right? This is our competition we were looking for, right? Like, what is the competition doing? Like, I looked at this one here, same thing. It was like a cleared lot. Like, I mean, there's still a couple of trees, right? But in the end, it's like on the market for like 126 days, 122 views, 9 saves. So totally overpriced, right? So I was looking, okay, what do I find here? And now when I pull up Zillow, right? Let's pull up Zillow and look a little bit for sold comps, because here was not like a lot going on, right? Like we were looking here at like 1 acre to 5 acre lots. I think this is what we did. So, and I took any because I was knowing, hey, there will not be a lot of properties, right? So I scrolled a little bit out, and the next available comps I found up here was something for sale, but I thought like, hey, look, this like looks like pretty nice houses, right? This is like a pretty good neighborhood up here. So these are no comps. Like here's a golf course, it's a golf course community. Like we're here somewhere in the woods, right? And like all of that doesn't really look so trustworthy. What I see, maybe like this is even a mobile home, right? I mean, we see some pools, but like the roofs don't look that nice. So it's like not the worst, but not the best neighborhood. I was like, okay, asking my question, I don't see a lot of land comps, right? Like I don't see a lot of comps sold too. And what I found was like, okay, what's an acre selling for 1.6K? It was a 4.61 acre selling for 100,000. I was like, okay, why the hell did this happen? Right? But then I found it out because it has a house on it. So that was like by accident selling, right? Like, or marked as vacant land, right? Like, because it was 1954 built. It seems to be an older neighborhood here, like a poorer neighborhood, like, and other lots were selling. Here was one for 1.8K. So I said, interesting. When we don't find enough land comps, what do we do? Where's an idea? What do we do?
If you don't find the sold property, you go to the listing for property. If not, you compare to the house.
So this is it. Like it's not enough land comps. So what I was looking in is what are houses selling for? This is the right thing to do, right? So I added houses here. And I looked particularly for houses that had some acreage, right? And you see here, it's like a bunch of comps with 1 to 5 acre lots, right? You can filter that actually. So, and then I went back like 12 months. And what I was seeing, this here is our subdivision, right? Oh no, this is here, our subdivision. But when you look around here, like houses typically are selling like this one for 125,000. This one is here on a 1 acre lot. Does that make sense?
Cheap.
Very cheap, 118,000. Right? Like that was selling for 1 acre on a 1 acre lot. What's this? 173,000. It's really cheap home selling here. So, and I have a rule, and you can write that down or not, right? Like, but I think that the land, when you have houses under $400,000, that the land is approximately 10% of that. This is like when I talk to realtors, what I figured out, what I learned, like in all the courses I've been, like 10% is a good thing. Over 400,000 like 800,000, I would always estimate 20%, 800,000 plus, it's like 300, it's like 30%, right? The land gets more worse compared to the sale, like the more the houses. So, but what we have here is like cheap subdivisions, right? So I just like made my filter a little bit closer. I went here 2 to 5 acres, right? I found a little bit out, like with here's 3-bed, 2-bath, right? That sold this year in April for 251,000. That was on a 2.7 acre lot. And what I did is I took that as a comp, right? Here you see that 25,000 for that one. I found this one that was a 4.5 acre lot that sold in the area for $150,000 for a 1,500 square feet home, right? 1958 built, so it's older houses. It's not the most desired neighborhood here, probably, right? But it sold on that lot, so I put like $15,000 down for that house, or for that one $20,000 because we have 4.5 acre, guys. That's something worse, right? So I gave it a $5,000 credit, right? And but that wasn't my thesis, right? So and then I had this one here. I found that one in that area too. It sold for 110, like big in 2022, but hey, it was like 2.3 acres selling for like that. So I took it like for $11,000, 10% on that. So with that said, I came to a conclusion, right? So hey, this lot is in a market where we have low priced houses. It will not be worth $35,000, $45,000, right? It can't be, because people, what do you want? You want to build a house like on a $40,000 or $35,000 lot that's worth 120, right? And you wouldn't buy a $350,000 house in a neighborhood where everything else sells for 120, right? Or 150 or maybe 200, right? You wouldn't do that. So our for sale comps are much too high. The stuff is not moving, right? The one we had here for 2.75 acres is 34 views in like 105 days. So and then we have like minuses on the property too, right? We have a lot of slope, right? And we have the creek and like the wetlands. So that land is even not fully usable. So it's a lot of minuses. So I went back and said, like, you know what? We want to list it for approximately, start listing it with $20,000, right? And then go down up to $6,000 and up to like 16, 17, right? This is the target goal. What would be my least price on that to sell it? So, but he has it under contract for $18,000. Yeah. And that was a really tricky comp to run. And that's a really experienced person who does that. That guy does like 30, 40 deals a year, right? Like he does a lot of deals and he didn't catch it. And he was like, oh, fuck, I should have caught that, right? But yes, I look on so many comps every day because we get so many like inquiries and all that. It's like the little tricks which make a difference here, right? So he needs to renegotiate. And Bhakta, to your question, like for that house, right? I would not have offered more than $6,500. Oh, sorry. For that piece of land, like it would have been like a $6,500 buy, not more. If the seller doesn't grant me that, then I just like go away from that deal, right? Because that gives me $5,000 in net profit. That's great, right? I take that on a $20,000 deal, right? But this is where I would have stayed away. And why did I share that with you today, guys? First of all, I wanted you to give you a little bit of insight in my brain because I'm working closely with the team and with Corianne right now. Like Corianne comes from the house side, right? And ran 10,000 millions of comps in her life, but she never really ran land comps. And she's sitting every morning with us in that meeting because she wants to learn more, right? And she says like, what the fuck? I would have never thought about this, right? I mean, I've done over 1,000 deals now, and like I have looked probably at, I don't know, 10, 15,000 properties, maybe 20,000. I don't know, because it's like more deals we say no to than yes, right? And we will give you that experience to the community probably from next week on. we made the decision that we will open up this call, this comms call we do every morning with the team to the community. You can join that, right? And you can bring your deals. We can't always promise that we value your deal, right? Like, but there's a pretty high chance, right? That we will take that. That you always have a second opinion on that deal too, right? That, hey, that you get a second point on like, hey, you know what? I have that deal, but is it really that worth? Because we felt that a lot of you, like in the last touch, are a little bit insecure. Is it the right thing to do? And we just want to help you with that, right? It will be every morning, 9 a.m. CST. You can log in, you can log off. There will be recordings in the portal, right, for every call we do, right? And we will pull out everything we can. And I will value that deals with you, with my team. I will be there every morning for you. And we will give that away for like a steal. It will be a $99 monthly subscription. And you can bring as much properties as you want, right? And I think I love that because it will give you so much impact on your business that I would love to have that in the beginning of my career, like a person who just like does deals every day, and this is where we live from. We do deals every day. To have a look at my deals, just like to be secure. What do I do with this deal? Where do I need to go with that deal to make it a deal that profits me? And guys, I can tell you, you will say no to so much more deals, right, than you did before, but that few you will have will sell pretty fast. Does that make sense? And this is what we wanted to reveal, right? Like, because when you have a good deal, you can even let us sell it for you on autopilot too and still make your profit and don't worry about the deal anymore, right? Because we take a commission on the back end. It's a little onboarding fee, but when we had to gather already a look on your deal, you can make better decisions for your business, make more money, spend less time with deals that are not worth it, right? And, I talked like, we right now work with a couple of partners, like John Montero was here on that call, right? We work all of our entitlements in Texas and in North Carolina with that guys because they are the best in the industry of doing that in these two states, right? There are other people we will make available to you in there for subdivides, for value adds, for all kind of stuff. But it always starts with a good deal. And this is why we decided here on the Land Pilot to give that to you. Every morning a call, 9 a.m. CST. Be there, be not there. Hey, you have a deal, you don't have a deal. We don't care. We will do our comms anyway, right? So be on there. If you're interested, like in joining that, just like reach out to Corianne. We're rebuilding the website right now. It will start probably mid of next week, right? That we're going to open it up for the public because we have like another 100 deals we need to value right now from our internal system, right? And this is what we want to do. And with that said, it's on the top of the hour. Thank you so much for getting on today. If you have any questions around all of that, ask Corianne. If you want to talk with me about your deal, hey, I'm not shy. Just hit me up. Come on Facebook. Send me an email with your deal. I'm more than happy to talk with you about that. Right? Like this is what we do all day, every day. We do deals, right? And with that said, Corianne, you want to close us off and bring us home?
I do, because I am so excited about this. Having a lot of different conversations with new and experienced land flippers, having either a second pair of eyes or somebody who can really be that backbone in decision making for you is going to move you so much faster. And we want to see that for you and your business. So if that's something that interests you guys, if you take a little photo of this QR code, you're going to get all of my information and you can text me and I'll make sure that you are personally invited by me into that tier of just $99 a month to have Robin sitting Monday through Friday in a specific time, specific place to look over your deals. I think it's invaluable and I hope it's answering a lot of what you guys have asked for. Thank you for being a part of our Land Pilot family. We're so glad you took the time to hang out with us, and we will see you again next Thursday, same time, same place.
I want to add something more, guys. Come on this Thursdays. For the rest of the year, we have like the most prominent, the most VIP people of the industry lined up for you to talk about a specific topic where they're like the best in. We will have Ajay Sharma. We will have Alicia Jarrett, who was here already. We'll have Kellen Faulkner on. We'll have Seth Williams coming. We'll have Joe McCall coming. Rick Rock coming. Like people you know from YouTube and from Facebook, they will be here Thursday for you. Bring your questions. We'll have a Q&A in the end of every session. And these guys promised me to just spread whatever they are doing and provide you with as much value as they can. So with that said, have a great day. Thank you for joining today, and thank you for your time. And I can't wait to see everybody next week in the Comms Calls.
Thank you.
All right, God bless.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everybody.